To whom it may concern, this is to certify that the Beatles stayed at the Whittier Hotel, arriving at 1:17 a.m. September 6, 1964, Detroit time, occupying Executive Suite number 1566, checking out at 2:05 p.m. September 6, 1964. This is also to certify the bed linen below so designated is authentic and factual as to each of the Beatles using same. Jimmy Hawkins, Managing Director. Ringo slept here. That signed statement is the brainchild of one of these three men. What is your name, please?
My name is Lawrence Einhorn.
My name is Lawrence Einhorn.
My name is Lawrence Einhorn.
Only one of these men is the real Lawrence Einhorn. The other two are imposters and will try to fool this panel. Tom Poston, Peggy Cass, Orson Bean, and Kitty Carlisle. On To Tell the Truth with your host, Bud Collier.
Thank you, and welcome once again to Tell the Truth. Good evening, panel.
Hi. Good evening, Bud.
Nice to greet you all happily this evening. Incidentally, tonight, as we are on the air, is the premiere of a brand new show, a play called I Was Dancing. It opens in Boston, and one of the stars is our own Orson Bean.
Yes, sir.
Orson? Wish you the best of everything, but we're going to miss you for the next 4 weeks while you're on the road with the show.
Well, I'm catching a jet out the minute we're off the air.
Well, be sure you catch a jet back when you're back in New York.
It's a marvelous play. Come to see it when it opens.
Sure will. Sure will. We're brought to you tonight by Winston Filter Cigarettes. Panel, please open that envelope, if you will, and remove the story that I have a copy of on my desk here, and read along with me. I, Lawrence Einhorn, and my partner are involved in a rather unusual business venture. We contacted 2 hotels where the Beatles were staying during their latest American tour. We convinced the hotel managers to sell us the sheets and pillowcases from the beds in which the Beatles were sleeping. As soon as the singing group had left the hotel, we had the rooms sealed and the beds stripped. The hotel manager was present at the time to authenticate that the linen we purchased had actually been used by the Beatles and to certify which Beatle had slept in which bed. We then had the sheets cut into 156,000 one-inch squares and mounted on parchment suitable for framing. We are selling these certified souvenirs for $1 each. When buying, Beatle fans may specify a sheet swatch as slept on by either George, John, Paul, or Ringo. Signed, Lawrence Einhorn. A panel, these 3 gentlemen all claim to be Lawrence Einhorn, who started this new craze with the Beatles. Let's start our questioning with our own ardent Beatle fan, Kitty Carlisle. Kitty?
Thank you, Bud. Number 1, how long did these gentlemen sleep on these sheets?
Just one night.
Number 3, was there any appreciable difference between the sheets that were slept on by these famous gentlemen?
No, they all look the same.
Number 2, one wasn't any more wrinkled than the other?
No, they were pretty equal.
Oh, dear. Number 3, are you a press agent?
No, I am not.
Number 2, what other business ventures have you been associated with like this?
None like this.
I should hope not.
Tom Poston.
Number 2, what does Einhorn mean?
It's a name.
To you, it's a name. Number 3, what does Einhorn mean?
My name.
That's all? I mean, it doesn't have any other meaning in another language?
Well, Ein would be one in German, so I imagine one horn.
Ah, we're talking to a unicorn. Number 1, does Einhorn mean that to you?
Yes, it does.
Number 1, were the sheets laundered before you sold them?
Oh, no.
Oh, no.
I mean, you're airing the Beatles' dirty linen in public. Number 2, were there any wives along in this? In other words, was there... were there any of the...
No, just the Beatles sheets, no wife sheets.
Thank you.
Now, number 3, the Whittier Hotel overlooks a body of water. What body of water is that?
I don't know.
Huh? Oh, I guess you're not from Detroit, huh?
No.
Oh, well, that throws all these out. Number 1, what's Ringo's last name?
Starr.
Number 3, what's John's last name?
Lennon.
Number 2, what's Paul's last name?
McCartney.
Number 1, what's Ringo's real name?
I don't know.
Oh, number 3, what is George's last name?
Harrison.
Where is Mercy? What, number 2, what is the Mercy sound?
I'm not familiar with that.
Number 1, what is the Mercy sound?
I don't know.
Number 3, where are the Beatles from?
England.
Thank you.
Orson B.
Number 3, are you sure? All right. Now, number 3, again, according to my figures here, you have cut these Grundy sheets up into 156,000 squares. Now, therefore, you're going to gross 156,000 bucks, right? Providing you sell them all.
Right.
Right. Now, you're not passing any of John's sheets off as Ringo's pillowcases or anything, are you? I understand that the Ringo is very popular.
Well, they've all been certified as being the actual ones.
I see. And if there's any left... Oh, mercy.
That's all the time we have. So strip your beds and mark your balance. Mark them at once without change. And, of course, no consultation amongst you. Simply vote now for number 1, number 2, or number 3. Our team of challengers, of course, will receive $250 for every incorrect vote. All ballots marked? Very well, Tom, for whom did you vote?
I voted for number 3. He had the serious look of a guy who would be involved in a serious business undertaking like this. I thought it might be he.
Peggy, which is your selection?
I voted for number 3 because, gee whiz, the Mercy sound is the sound the Beatles make. That's a river in Liverpool or something like that. And number 3 knew George's last name, and hardly anybody ever remembers George's last name. It's Harrison.
How about that?
Poor George.
Orson B.
Yeah, well, I have some of Rudy Valley's old washcloths. I think I'm going to go to the... I don't know who it is at all. They all look sane to me, and they all look like they're going to be richer. I voted for number 2. I don't know why, but he has a twinkle in his eye and looks like he needs the money.
Kitty Carlisle.
I voted for number 3. Many of my betters are interested, I'm sure, in buying these things, and I think number 3 looks like a go-ahead businessman.
All right, that makes it 3 for number 3, 1 for number 2. So let's find out immediately which one of these gentlemen, in truth, is the idea man who is selling these swatches of sheets of the Beatles. So will the real Lawrence Einhorn please stand up? Thank you very much, sir. How have the sales been so far?
Very good, thank you, Bud.
About how many have you sold?
About 25,000 so far.
Wow. That's incredible. Whew, man.
Who sells the fastest, Larry?
Ringo.
Right.
Number 1, what is your real name, sir, and what do you really do?
My name is Tony Leeds, and I'm a broker with Kaufman Management Corporation here in New York City.
Thank you. And number 2, what is your real name and what do you do, sir?
My name is Barry Milish. I'm one of the managers of Chicago's Playboy Club.
Well, gentlemen, in checking the score, we find that the panel was pretty smart. They zeroed in on the truth pretty closely. But still, there was one incorrect vote, and that's worth $250 coming your way, to be divided, of course, and I hope it brings you great joy. Thank you for your wild idea and the fun that you gave to our show tonight, and most of all, for your visits. Good night, and God bless you. Incidentally, Beatle fans, please do not write us here at the show asking for any of these little swatches, because not only do we not have any bed sheets or samples thereof, But Larry Einhorn assures us that by the time your letter reaches us, they'll be sold out. They're going so fast.
Sell you some of ours.
Yes, the panelists are having all of their beds stripped tonight, and we'll cut them up in little pieces, and they can mail them to you if they like. For now, however, 60 seconds designed to your particular taste for your particular pleasure. Now let's meet our next team of challengers.
What is your name, please?
My name is Eric Ritter.
My name is Eric Ritter.
My name is Eric Ritter.
Panel, please follow along with your copies of this one. I, Eric Ritter, am the skipper of the 12-meter racing yacht Constellation. Sailing a 24-mile triangular course off Newport, Rhode Island, Constellation retained the world's most hallowed yachting prize, the America's Cup. This became the 19th successful defense of the Cup, which the United States has held without interruption for 113 years. Signed, Eric Ritter. These three gentlemen all claim to be Eric Ritter, skipper of the victorious Constellation. Let's start this cross-examination with Tom Poston. Tom?
Thank you. Number 3, Captain, congratulations to all of you. The real one, anyway. What did your rival captain say when he lost? Rather remarkable expression of good sportsmanship, I thought. Do you remember what he said?
No, I don't. Not entirely.
Number 2, do you remember what he said when he was bested?
No, I do not remember.
Number 1?
I wasn't there.
Well, I don't think he said it in your presence, but I thought maybe you might have known what he said. Number 2...
What did he say?
Well, he said, it's a pleasure to have been beaten by someone as good as the American guy. Number 2, what are sheets to a yachtsman?
Those again.
What are sheets to a Beatle fan? What are
Sheets
sheets
are the lines that control the sails that you trim with.
Peggy Cass.
Number 1, what's a J-boat?
J-boat is one of the America's Cup yachts which raced during the 30s. They preceded the 12 meters.
Thank you. Number 3, who's Buzz Mossbacher?
He's a sailor. He successfully defended the America's Cup in '62.
Thank you. Number 2, what's St. James Island?
I'm sorry, I don't know.
Number 3, how many did you have on your crew?
11.
Number 1, what was the big fault that they had with their sails, the other boat? Poor thing.
They were just poor fitting sails. They were too full, for one thing.
Yeah, but number 1, they...
Orson Bean.
Yes, number 2, who built the Vim?
The Vim was built by Sparkman and Stevens.
Number 1, who built the Constellation?
Miniford Yacht Yard on City Island.
Miniford?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Number 3, what yacht preceded the Constellation as the champ?
Weatherly.
The Weatherly. And before that?
Columbia.
Number 2, Fleet Winespar. Who is he?
Fleet Winespar?
Fleet Winespar.
Never heard of him.
Kitty Carlisle.
Number 3, how many times do we have to do this again in order to keep the cup?
I don't know that question is subject to an answer, or at least I don't understand.
That's what I ask a lot of questions I don't know the answers to. Don't you have to win the race again in order to keep the cup, number 2?
The cup remains with the yacht club that won it originally, and as long as that particular yacht club wins the race,
you can keep it.
They keep it.
Number 1, what does Thomas Lipton mean to yachting?
Thomas Lipton was the most prolific challenger of the Americans.
And number 3, what yacht did he
That's
sail?
all the time we have, Miss Shamrock. You have to just mark your ballots, if you will, please. Mark them at once. Without change, of course, without consultation. No need to really tell you that. Simply vote for number 1, number 2, or number 3. All ballots marked? All right, Tom, for whom did you vote?
Well, I voted for number 3. I don't know enough about the race to be able to make a judge. I thought they all knew a lot about it.
Peggy.
I have to disqualify myself because in the middle of the questioning, I recognized one of them.
Oh, you did?
Yep. If I'm wrong, I'll kill myself, but I'm sure I'm right.
You think Ringo would be here with a haircut? Orson Bean.
Well, number one had a kind of a silly name for a shipyard. Probably it's the real one. I don't remember what it was, but it struck me as silly. I was torn then between 2 and 3, and 3 has a rather patrician look about him of a yachtsman, so I voted for him.
Much like Fleet Winespar.
Fleet Winespar is the most patrician of all.
Certainly is. Kitty Carlisle.
I voted for number 1. He had very good answers, very quick answers, and I think it's number 1.
Very well, the votes are all in and the minds are made up. Let's find out now which of these 3 gentlemen, in truth, skippered the successful sailing of the Constellation. Will the real Eric Ritter please stand up?
I would have voted for you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much. And our sincere congratulations to you. You made us all proud, believe me.
Thank you.
I expect it was mighty exciting and prideful for you, too, wasn't it?
It was.
Number 1, what is your real name and what do you really do? Stay seated, if you will.
My name is Jim Trudeau. I work for Babcock & Wilcox, producers of nuclear power plants and other industrial equipment.
Wow. And number 2, what is your real name and what do you do?
My name is Bob Bendick. I'm head of Bendick Associates, which is a motion picture and television production company.
That's how you know it. Well, in checking the score, we find that, including the one of the that's right disqualification that Peggy gave us, that means there were 2 incorrect, calling that one an incorrect vote, and therefore that's a total of $500, gentlemen. Twice $250 comes out that way, and I hope it comes out to bring you all a great deal of fun, joy, and happiness, and thank you for joining us tonight. Good night. God bless you. Mr. Ritter has asked us to send his prize money to the United States International Sailing Association as a contribution to the United States Olympic sailing team, and of course it shall be done. We'll put the panel back to work in just a minute. Meantime, here's something you'll enjoy. Let's meet our 3rd team of challengers.
What is your name, please?
My name is Patricia Hackett.
My name is Patricia Hackett. My name is Patricia Hackett.
Please follow along with this story, if you will, please, panel. I, Patricia Hackett, have a rather neat working arrangement. In the winter, I work indoors as a school teacher, and during the summer, I work outdoors as a ranger in Yellowstone National Park. My summer work includes guiding park visitors on nature walks and conducting evening campfire programs. My special job, however, is giving talks on Old Faithful, the famous geyser which about 20 times each day shoots thousands of gallons of steaming water 130 feet into the air. Currently, I am the only woman ranger in Yellowstone Park. Signed, Patricia Hackett. These 3 young ladies all claim to be, as you heard, Patricia Hackett, Yellowstone Park Ranger, and the only lady one in that job. We'll start with Peggy Cass, if we may. Peggy?
Thank you. Number 3, do you work for the United States government?
Yes, I work under the United States Park Service.
Thank you. Number 2, is that your uniform?
Yes, it is.
Number 1, how many girls are in the United States Park Service?
Only 1 at the moment.
Oh, and that's you.
In Yellowstone.
In Yellowstone. Thank you. Number 3, where is Jackson Hole?
In Wyoming.
Thank you. Where's Yellowstone, number 2?
In Wyoming.
Oh, I got a sprite there. Number 1, how close can you get to that thing with thousands and thousands of gallons of steaming water, 100 feet in the air? I mean, how close can you get to it?
Approximately within 50 feet.
Within 50 feet without getting blistered?
Yes.
Or cooked. Orson Bean.
Yes, number 2. Give us a little of your spiel, will you? Pretend I'm here with
that's a performance, and that we...
All right. Well, what do you say about the geyser, then? I mean, in your own words.
Say hello, guys. Or hello, geyser.
All right, well, tell me something about the geyser.
I give it statistics. Its height, its length and its interval.
Oh, that's sweet. Number 3, you're the only lady guide. Do the bears bother you at all? I heard that they get up and walk around on hind legs and everything. Friendly little fellas, big fellas.
Well, as long as they're not grizzly bears, they don't bother you.
How about the grizzlies? Do they give you a hard time?
Kitty Carlisle.
Number 1, do you approve of fraternizing with bears?
No, I do not.
Good. I don't either. They can be very dangerous, Orson.
Well.
Number 2, how often does the geyser go up?
Oh, anywhere from 31 to 97 minutes.
Oh, it changes?
Yes.
Number 3, how near is Cody, Wyoming, to the entrance to the park?
I beg your pardon?
Cody.
Well, Cody is on the eastern side. It's about, I think, 12 miles.
Thank you. Number 1, was the Lewis and Clark expedition close to Yellowstone?
Yes, it was.
Number 2, when you're there all by yourself with all these gentlemen rangers, where do you sleep?
In an apartment provided for me.
By your, oh, yeah,
I see. John Poston.
By a grateful constabulary. Number 2, what causes the change in the interval of the geyser
erupting?
The amount of cold water that comes back in after the eruption.
Makes a difference in the time. Number 3, where are you from Yosemite?
Where am I from Yosemite? I'm not too familiar with where Yosemite is. It's in California, but I don't know how far away.
Thank you. Number 1, isn't Yellowstone the place that the Indians used to be quite afraid of?
Yes.
Are they today?
No.
No. Thank you.
And that's it. So don't be afraid of voting. Vote now, at once, without change, without consultation, and without anything but just marking the right ones. Voting as you do for number 1, number 2, or number 3. All marked and quickly this time.
It's got to vote.
All right, Tom, for whom did you just vote?
Well, I just voted for number 2 because I don't know if the rest of the panel noticed it or not, but she's wearing a uniform. And maybe it was hers.
Peggy Cass, which one do you think it is?
Well, number 2 has a uniform, and it sure does fit. But I thought that 3 just really seemed like an outdoor girl, so I voted for her. Besides, I don't think they give you an apartment. I bet they only give you a room.
Orson, which one do you think is the real one?
I'd give her an apartment, and I voted for her. Number 2. She looks like a guide to me, and she could lead me around anytime.
Kitty.
I voted for number 1. I didn't ask number 2 how she felt about the bears, but I've traveled through those national parks, and one is warned not to fraternize with the bears because they can be very dangerous, and I voted for number 1.
Do they use the word fraternize? On the...
No, they don't.
I didn't think so. I thought it was something different.
Nobly familiar term.
I thought it was. Very well, there we have it. With all the votes in and the minds made up, let's find out at once which one of these ladies, in truth, is the Lady Yellowstone Park Ranger. Will the real Patricia Hackett please stand up?
Holy Toledo.
It looks like the 2 gentlemen were the hardest to fool because they're the ones that guessed right. Number 1, what is your real name and what do you really do?
My name is Elisa Ronstadt. I'm a theatrical lighting designer, and I work for Kliegel Brothers.
Number 3, what is your real name and what do you do?
My name is Jill Williams, and I'm a songwriter.
And I'm sure I can add that you never fraternize with bears. Checking the score, ladies, it was all right. There were 2 incorrect votes, and that brings us twice $250 or $500 to divide. The lights are sparkling in your eyes. They're not Kliegel lights either. They're the real thing. And may it bring you great joy. Thank you for being with us. Good night. God bless you. Some years ago, when I visited Yellowstone with all of my family, they were still laughing over something that had happened by 2 college men on vacation who went to an automobile junkyard and got a steering wheel and the post of an automobile and tiptoed up behind the crowd when Old Faithful was to go off and jammed it down in the soil there. And as the ranger started to talk about the water first coming up, one turned the other and said, "All right, Matt, give it a half a turn." So, of course, the crowd all turned and saw them spin the thing, and the water came up. And they did this through the whole thing, and finally said, "Open her all the way," and oh, good night to you. Good night, and bless you. Good night for Winston. And don't forget to join us the same time next week, and I'll see you tomorrow afternoon in the daytime show. In the meantime, don't you forget to tell the truth. Good night.
To Tell the Truth is a Mark Goodson, Bill Todman production.
What's that? You say you've got a secret? Well, let's share it for laughs, and I've got a secret. Next, on most of these stations.
To Tell the Truth has been brought to you by Winston Filter Cigarettes. Winston tastes good like a cigarette should. This is Johnny Olson speaking. For To Tell the Truth, the program was recorded.